Okay. Um, Hello, everybody, and welcome to Office Hour 73. So today our guest speaker is John, and he's going to take us on automating simple tasks in Excel Online using Office script. So this session is being powered by UrBizEdge, and UrBizEdge is a Microsoft Excel consulting, financial modeling, business intelligence, data analyst, and enterprise solution firm in Nigeria. These are the upcoming training calendars for the remaining of January and also for February. So about our speaker. So Johnny has been Microsoft MVP since 2002, and it's only one of the three Dutch MVPs. He's also the owner of JKP Application Development Services, where he develops custom solution in Microsoft Office. He's also a top expert in Microsoft Excel, VBA, and recent Office script. You can find him in the Microsoft forum, and you should subscribe to his newsletter. You can also find him on LinkedIn just by searching his name. So, hi, John.
Hi, Ifani. Thank you very much for introducing me. So today is about Office script, and to be honest, I did prepare a PowerPoint presentation, but I'm not going to show you that because we are going to talk about Excel, and Excel is not a PowerPoint app, right? So I'll start sharing my screen as soon as we are going to talk Excel, because then that's where it becomes interesting. But before I start, let me just mention a couple of things about myself. So I'm Jan Karel Pietersen. I live in the Netherlands in a little town close to Eindhoven. I am a chemical engineer by education, and I worked in the chemical industry for about 19 years, which is where I started using spreadsheets like Lotus and Quattro Pro, and for those of us who are older than 50, they probably are familiar with those terms. I started using Excel back in 1996, and I received my first Microsoft Most Valuable Professional Award. Oh, that's already 20 years ago, in 2002. The MVP award is an award that Microsoft gives to people who volunteer sharing their knowledge with the public without any interest in making money from that. Ever since 2003, I'm a self-employed Excel consultant, so my work is similar to what your company does. And you can find me at my website, which is jkp-ads.com. So today is about Office script. And the first thing that I want to show you, and let me share my screen, find the right page. There we go. The first thing that we need to establish is how do you enable Office script to become available in your Excel Online? And to do that, the first thing you have to do is go to your admin page on your Office 365 page. So if you're not the administrator of your Office account, you can at least watch this presentation and tell your administrator how to do it. So to go there, you click on the three dots here on the left, and you don't click on the three dots. Why have they moved the stuff here around? Okay, let me just click here and go to admin. See, that's the joy of working with Office 365. Microsoft keeps moving things around. So once you know where it is, 2 days later, it's somewhere else. So you need to go to the admin page. So this is the admin page. And what we need here is a setting that enables Office script. So I simply type Office script into the box and click on Office script. And what we see here is my current settings. So I have allowed everyone in my tenant to use Office script in Excel on the web. I allow everyone to access them, and I allow everyone to use those scripts with Power Automate. Why everyone? Because the everyone, that's just me. This tenant only contains one user, and that's me. So if you can't find OfficeScript by using the search box, you can also click Show All here, and then click Settings here, and then click Org Settings. And you can see why I use the search box, because it's a lot quicker to get there. And then you scroll down until you find OfficeScripts, and if you click that, you get the exact same box that I showed you just now. So turning this on and then maybe waiting for 1 or 2 days will make sure that if you open up Excel in Excel Online, that you get the Automate tab here. If you launch Excel for the first time after enabling OfficeScript, let me repeat that. So if I go to the same Excel file, then it takes a while for the Automate tab to appear. And then if it's there, you can click it and start working with scripts. So that's on how you turn on the scripts in the 365 admin area. So let's start recording our first script. So the script editor has the option to record your actions in Excel, just like you can record a VBA macro in Excel. And I think that's one of the strengths of the script, OfficeScript, that you can actually record stuff. So let's just do some stuff here. And if I click Record Actions, the first thing that happens is that the Script Recorder task pane opens up here, and it shows you that it's already recording. It doesn't do anything because I haven't done anything in Excel yet, but let me just enter my name into this cell and my website, which is that, and maybe today's date and today's time. So that's just 4 simple entries, and you can see on the right that the script recorder doesn't show you exactly the script that you recorded, but rather it shows you the actions that you've taken. And as you can see, I typed my web address into cell A2, and that resulted in 2 actions. The first was apparently typing something into A2, and then after that, it applied the link to A2. So let me stop the recorder and let's have a look at what was recorded. Let me make this a bit wider so we can actually see something. So the script recorder automatically named my script, which I can rename by just clicking here. Like this. And I can go look at the code by clicking the edit button here. And there's other stuff behind the 3 ellipses there, which we get to later. There should be a way to change the font size. Yes, let me make that slightly larger for people with smaller screens. There's my script. There's my script. Right, like this. So every script that you record starts with the same first line. It always starts with functions, main, opening bracket, workbook, Excel script.workbook. And then that is actually to pass the workbook that the script is about to work on. So that is the active workbook by definition. It's always the active workbook. So OfficeScript does not have an idea of other workbooks. There's only one workbook which you can work with, and that's the workbook that you currently have open. So apparently, the first action the script does is take the active sheet, which in OfficeScript is called workbook.getActiveWorksheet. And it sets the value of my name to cell A1. And then actually typing my web address into cell A2 results in a rather complicated statement that says, okay, set a hyperlink to cell A2 containing the text with my web address and the link address, which is also the web address. And then the last two cells I entered data into were cells A3 and A4, and it sets the values in one single step. And that is because communicating between OfficeScript and Excel is a very slow process. So OfficeScript tries to communicate with Excel as little as possible. So if you record many values that you enter, you will see all those values end up in a very large array, and the block of cells that you edited as one block of cell addresses here. So let's see if this script works. Let me just delete this symbol, this column here, and execute the script, and it should just deliver us the same result. And as you can see, that works. OfficeScript actually runs on a server, and it runs on a server which is separate from the server that is displaying your Excel page, which is why under the hood, OfficeScript actually is not synchronous, but asynchronous, which means that it may take a while for your OfficeScript to actually perform the actions. I have seen differences between a tenth of a second and maybe up to 1 minute before a simple script completes, depending on maybe the quality of your internet connection, or how busy the Excel server is, or how busy the OfficeScript server is doing its work. So don't expect OfficeScript to be just as quick as VBA, because there is a lot more complicated stuff going on behind the scenes than between Excel, VBA, and Excel. Okay, so we have recorded a script, and I have executed the script to show to you that it actually works. We shortly discussed what the script looks like. So let's have a look at where those scripts are stored. On the Automate tab, there is this All Scripts button which you can click, which takes you to the same location as when you click this back icon here. And you can go to All Scripts from here as well. And this gives you a list of all of the scripts that you've recorded recently. I think these are in the order of when you last looked at them. So it's kind of sorted on, I think, by date, ascending, descending. I don't see any other way to sort these, so this is probably something Microsoft still needs to do some work on. So that's where the scripts are when you are in Excel. If, however, you want to look at all these scripts or maybe copy them to another system, you can also go to your OneDrive. So if I go to my Office page and click on OneDrive, and then find my Documents folder, which is here, and then there's a folder that is managed by OfficeScript, and that is the Office Scripts folder. And as you recall the list of scripts that we saw just now, here are all my scripts. And from here, you can, for example, copy them to maybe your desktop and then upload it to a different Office 365 tenant. This is something that I need to do because I am a developer with a single man Office 365 account. But my customer may have a different tenant, so I have to copy the file to my customer and ask them to upload it to a specific OfficeScript folder. So that's where my scripts are. If I need to copy the files themselves, these are, what's it called again? The file format is, sorry, I can't, I have a hard time finding the term for it, sorry. So if you want to start a script, there are actually 3 ways to start the script. The first one you already saw, And that's by just clicking on the script and clicking on the run button over here. But that's not very user friendly for if you want to share a script with your colleague. So the other way of starting a script is by adding a button to the worksheet. Now, the addition of the button relies on whatever the active cell is when you click the command. So I'm going to activate a random cell, let's just say G14, and now I'm going to add a button to this script. That's here. It will take a while and then it will appear. As you can see, the button appears in the location where my cursor is. So if I put my cursor elsewhere and add a button, it will place it right there. So now I have two buttons that do the same thing. You can right click a button and just cut it to get rid of it. So if all goes well and I click this button, I will see my name and web address and today's date and time appear in column A. And as you can see, it's not necessarily instant because it first loads the task pane and then loads the script, but at least it works properly, which you can't say from VBA, which doesn't work in a web browser. So that is the second way to fire off a script.
Can you assign a different script to a button that has already been assigned a script?
You mean,
Like,
can I assign a different script to the same button?
Now that you have assigned this script to this, maybe you move it and you assign this button to maybe a different script. Is that possible?
I don't think so. At least not yet. As far as I can see, if I right-click the button, the only thing I can do is view script. So I think if you want to assign a different script to the button, the only thing you can do is delete the button and add a new button. What you can do, however, is you can edit the text on the button. Make it as long as you want, of course. Oh, that looks ugly. Whatever. So yeah, you can't. So that is that is one of the drawbacks of Office scripts. They are separate from your Excel file. So if you place a button in an Excel file, clicking that button means that Excel Online is going to open a code pane here, which is going to actually call up this script and then execute it. It's up to you to keep tabs on that this script is actually tied to a button in a workbook, and that editing the script may mean that the button in the workbook is going to work different than you maybe expect. And this is very unlike Excel on desktop, where the VBA code is usually inside the workbook, which has the button. So it gives a slightly higher maintenance burden on the people working on the scripts, that they also have to, keep a list of workbooks in which that script may be running. Okay, let me see. So that's, I promised there would be 3 ways to actually launch a script. The third way is by triggering a Power Automate flow, and I'm going to show that as well. So if we go to Power Automate like this, and then create a new flow, let's just create an instant flow, which is triggered by manually clicking something. Let's manually trigger a flow, create the flow, and then add a step. And the step is run a script in Excel Online. And then over here, you can select where the script is located, what the script name is, and etc. So that's the third way of actually starting a script. So far I have only created a script by recording one. Let's see what happens and how when you want to write a script from scratch. So the simple way to do that is just clicking on the new script button. And you see it's not necessarily quick. Let me click that button again. Why is nothing happening? Okay, let me just quickly refresh this page. Automate, new script. Right, there we are. So it took a while, we had to wait for a bit, but there is our script editor. And let's say that I'm planning to write a script that inserts a table of content worksheet into this workbook. So the first step that we need is a check to see whether there is a worksheet that is called TOC. Let's call the sheet TOC. So the way to check whether a worksheet exists in a workbook is relatively straightforward. It's done by using an if statement. If workbook, you can see that the script editor has IntelliSense that it tells you what options you have while you're typing. I have a workbook, period, and I want to get a worksheet from the workbook. So every time you want to fetch information from an object, an Excel object in OfficeScript, the first three letters to type are get. So immediately we get a list of applicable items, and the thing that we need here is a worksheet. And which worksheet do I want? I want to get worksheet TOC, table of content. This actually is all we need to find out whether that worksheet exists, because the JavaScript compiler will return a false if that worksheet does not exist. If the worksheet exists, it just returns the worksheet. So this works. So this is an if statement in to start the statement with the opening curly braces and end it with the closing curly braces. So if that worksheet is there, I want to actually delete it. So I'm going to create a temporary variable called temp. And here I have to fetch that same worksheet again. Workbook dot get worksheet. By the way, JavaScript is case sensitive. So if you type something in lowercase, it will not correct it for you, but it will show you that something's wrong with the squiggly red line. Unlike VBA, it doesn't correct it for you automatically, which in my opinion is a huge mistake, but okay, we have to live with that. My column to end a statement. And then the next action is actually that I'm going to delete that worksheet. And unlike VBA, we can't just end this statement by pressing enter. We have to actually have opening and closing brackets, even though no arguments are needed. But that takes some getting used to if you are a VBA programmer like me. Okay, so that gets rid of the TOC sheet, should it be already there. If it's not there, well, then we actually don't need to do anything because we're going to re-add that worksheet every time. Okay, now I have deleted the TOC sheet. The next thing to do is get a list of all the worksheets. So again, I'm going to define a variable that is done using the let statement. Let all sheets, I'm calling it. And I'm going to get all sheets from the workbook. So I'm typing workbook. And because I'm getting something, as you can see, there's a plural called get worksheets. which actually gives me all worksheets of the workbook. And again, even though no arguments are needed, I need to close this off with opening and closing brackets. So that gives me the current list of all worksheets. Now it's time to add a new one called TOC. So I'm going to use another variable called TOC. That one I'm going to equal to workbook add worksheet. And the argument of the add worksheet method is actually the name of the worksheet. So I'm going to put that in quotation marks, and I'm going to end the statement with a semicolon. So if I have this bit, I'm just deleting the TOC sheet and adding a fresh one. So let me just try this and run it, and you should see a TOC appear here next to the plus. And that is what the point I tried to make earlier, that it can take a while for a script to actually execute. It took like 4 or 5 seconds for the TOC sheet to appear. If you try this in VBA, it's instant. And to prove that it actually worked, I'm going to color all cells in this TOC sheet here, maybe make them yellow, and then run my script again. It should delete the TOC sheet and add a fresh one, which should now be totally blank, which it does. Okay, so we got the first bit of our script running. What's next? The next thing is to tell Excel where I want to put my table of content. Let's assume that we want to start in cell B2. So I'm going to tell the Office script that I need a variable, which I'm going to call report cell. And that variable is report cell, and that is on the TOC sheet. Get range. So that allows me to start working with report cell and not do the TOC sheet get range statement over and over again. It's also a lot quicker because there's only one call to Excel to establish a connection between VB Office script and the report cell. Okay, now I have my report cell. The next step I want to do is add a table. Oh, by the way, what I'm actually my end result, planned end result is that in B2 there is worksheet name and then a list of names. And I want this to be a table. And then to the right of that, I want a link to the worksheet by using the hyperlink function. So that is my goal, just so you know. Next step, let me see. Oh, the new table, that new table. And by the way, if you don't know the syntax of adding a table, it's simply a matter of turning on the script recorder, typing the names and formatting that area as a table, and the script recorder will actually generate most of the script that you need. Your new table is actually workbook.add table. Add table, opening bracket. By the way, I'm looking at a small printout of this code, so don't think I'm doing this actually by heart, all of it. I'm typing it over just to make sure that I'm not making any mistakes. The first argument that this table add table function needs is the address where to put the table. And that's not necessarily just an address. It can also be a range object. And in this case, I want it to be the report cell. And the next argument is actually whether or not your table has a header. And that's just. So that's the next one. Then, of course, my table needs a header, so let's put that header in there, report cell. Dot. So now I'm going to write values to the range, but I'm going to write two values in one go. So report cell is only cell B2, so I need the resized range, and I'm going to, that has two arguments. The first argument is the number of rows that I want to add to my current selection. And the second argument is the number of columns I want to add to my selection. So 0, 1 gives me cells B2 and C2. And I'm going to set the values of those two cells to, and now I need square brackets, a number of them. The first one is going to be the first cell, and that is just going to have worksheet in it. And the second one is going to be link. So let's see if this works. Run. And if all goes well, yes, TOC. There's a problem with my VBA code, my Office scripts code. I'm so used to saying VBA code that I'm actually saying VBA code now as well. Interesting. Well, I don't know what's wrong, really. I'm comparing my code to what I already have. It looks identical. Maybe they changed something behind my back. I don't know. Just find it by what I'm looking at. Don't worry. Let's just continue. I'll probably copy and paste the code from my notes later on and paste that in, see what the differences are, whatever. So the next step is that we, for every worksheet that we have, is write an entry here. And for that, we need a for loop, for. And in JavaScript, a for loop looks entirely different from a for next loop in VBA. So we are going to use a loop counter called I, let I equals, and we'll start at 0 because by default in JavaScript, all arrays start at the index of 0, even arrays that are taken from Excel. So that's my start. And then the next thing I need to do is the criteria on which we want to stop. And I want to stop if my I is less than the number of sheets that are in that all sheets variable. So all sheets tab dot length. So it's not count like in VBA, it's length. So that's where I want it to stop. And at every loop, I want to add 1 to I, so that is I++. So as you can see, a for next loop looks entirely different in JavaScript than it looks in VBA, but it's not that difficult. By the way, the script editor also allows you to automatically indent your code. You can just right-click here and say, click on Format Document, and it will, nicely format your document for you. Okay, so what needs to go inside my for next loop? Actually, that's quite easy. The first thing I need to look at is my report cell. And my report cell is actually cell B2. So my first entry needs to go 1 row down. So I'm going to use get offset range again. Bracket. So we need to actually go as many items down as our counter, I plus 1, because I starts at 0. And I need to go 0 columns to the right. That's it. And then I'm going to set the value of that cell to be equal to my all sheets variable, opening square bracket I, dot get name, to get the name of the sheet, because all sheets is actually a collection of all my worksheets. So I'm now getting the name of my sheet. And why is the squiggly line under there? Because I still have to enter an opening and closing bracket here. So that is the end of my statement that actually fills my table here. Let's see if that works. The script ran with errors. Line 11.
So someone mentioned that line 11 is missing a comma.
Okay. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
Yes, it is. It's actually right here. Thank you. Let's do that again. Run. You see, I could have looked at my code for hours and not see that. Now it has run without any errors. Let's look at the TOC page and see what happened. Good. The basis of our script is working. We have a column worksheet and it lists all of our worksheets except for the TOC sheet, because there's no point in mentioning your table of content on your table of content, is there? So the final thing we need is actually a hyperlink to the worksheet so we can quickly jump to them. If I generate a table of content in my Excel file, I usually use the hyperlink function for that. Because it's difficult to write a formula into JavaScript, it's easier to just record a script that generates that formula. So let's just record a script that gives us the entire syntax we need. I'm going to record my actions right here, and I'm going to type the hyperlink formula. Hyperlink. I don't know if any of you have ever created a hyperlink based off information in a cell, but the trick is that I want to create a hyperlink to a worksheet internally. So the first thing that we need to do is add the £, because that indicates that we're actually pointing to something inside this workbook. And now what we need to do is build up a string that looks exactly like a direct cell reference from one worksheet to another. So to be on the safe side, I'm going to start with the apostrophe, which normally appears around a worksheet name if that worksheet name contains, for example, a space character in it. And then I'm going to close the formula by pressing the then I'm going to add whatever is in cell B3, and then I'm going to add the apostrophe again, the exclamation mark, and let's just point to cell A1 on every worksheet. So that's the first argument of my hyperlink formula. That's just pointing to the location. And what I want to display is something like just the name of the worksheet, or maybe just the text, go to worksheet. Closing bracket, press enter. And now I'm just waiting for Excel to complete its work. I don't know why it's not doing anything. Let me just stop recording here. It's probably a mistake in my formula. I know. My Excel is probably in Dutch, so I need to use the semicolon here. Exactly, that's the problem. And now see if the hyperlink work. If I click on this one, I get taken to sheet 1. That works. And if I click on this one, I get taken to sheet 2. So that works as well. So let's have a look at the code that was just recorded. Go back to all scripts and script 1. And it says unsaved changes. So that's the script I just recorded. What's going on here? Oh, it doesn't allow me to go to script 1, which I maybe because I'm okay. Let me save the script first. What's going on here? Go back to all scripts. That's my recorded script. Oh, great. Thank you very much. I'll record the script again. Record actions. Here, press F2, enter. Sorry, I apologize. My Excel is not cooperating. Maybe it does now. That's not the script I'm interested in. Right, I have no idea where my recorded actions ended up, so I'm just going to copy the information from my presentation and paste it into the script I was editing, because otherwise we're wasting too much of your time. So setting a formula is, I'm setting the formula of cell C3 and let Excel take care of copying that formula in the table, because that is what Excel does automatically. So I'm going to add a formula to the TOC sheet to get range E, and then the command is set formula. So anything you want to change starts with the word set, and the formula syntax actually is like this. Copying it from my even right. So if you compare the formula that's in the Excel cell here to what's recorded in the script, you can see that anything that's a special character is actually preceded by a backslash. So that's the escape character within the string. So that should work. Let me see, why is this squiggly line here? See, even copying information is sometimes difficult. I forgot to add a closing parentheses. Probably I just have one too many. That's the problem. We are. So this should be our entire script. Let's try the script. Let me just click on run. And we should be ending up with a worksheet which contains links to the 2 other worksheets that we have. There's the new worksheet. And look here, the hyperlinks work. Good. So that is actually creating a working script from scratch. Look at my notes again. Oh yes, the next item is how would you share a script? So there's actually 2 ways to share your script with your coworkers. The first one is by just adding a button to your workbook. So let's just add a button to the workbook. And unfortunately, if with this script, if I add a button to the table of contents sheet that says refresh the table of contents, what will happen is that the button will be deleted. To demonstrate, if I go to the Nigeria presentation 1 script, which I just created, and I click add button, no, I'm going to click here first and then click add button. It will add a button here, but by clicking the button, the TOC sheet will be deleted and renewed. and the button will be absent from the new sheet. So that is a drawback of the method that I chose to simply delete the entire worksheet. That's interesting. Our script seems to have run successfully, but there are no formulas here. What happened? I know what happened. I did not save my last edit, maybe. There you go. Edit. Let me save my script. Add the button again. Interesting, isn't it? So if I now click on the button, it should run the script. Give me a table of contents sheet with working links, but without a button. So that's the first way to share your script. The second way to share a script is by going to your list of scripts and selecting the script that you want to share and clicking on the 3 ellipses. Nope, you have to go to the script first. And then on these 3 ellipses, you can share your script. And now everyone in my tenant has access to this script. And it's interesting though. Oh yes, also that script is now tied to this particular workbook. So that's about sharing scripts. Let me see. A very recent addition to Excel, if you happen to be on Office Insider and you have a workbook that contains a script button, like the one I had just now. Let me add a button again. You can open this file in Excel Desktop and then click that button, and the Office script will actually run in Excel Desktop. But like I said, that will only work if you are using Office Insider in Office 365 for now. Let me see if that was everything I was planning to present. Question and answers. Yes, I think that's all of it. Right. Okay. So I'm ready to take any questions from the audience.
Okay, someone's asking when will scripts be available in Microsoft Office 365 Home?
Yes, that is correct.
No, like when will it be available in Microsoft Office 365 Home?
You mean in a regular? If you have Office 365, it is available already. So let me go back here. So if you are on Office 365, you can ask your administrator to enable scripts for you, and then you will have access to it.
Well, okay.
So that is what I demonstrated at the beginning of the presentation. So if you go to your,
I think it looks like I think it's referring to a non-business account. I think I mentioned in I think it's a non-business account.
That is, yes, it's probably an E3 or E5 account that you need. I don't know if it's on 365 Home, to be honest. I don't have an Office 365 Home account, so I can't really try that.
But the script that works on the Excel, like online. So that means on your desktop, the desktop application, like on your desktop, you can't really use, you can't see the script now. Not at the moment. No.
Well, let me see if I can demonstrate that shortly. I just need to launch a different machine.
Okay.
It takes like a minute, but I'm going to launch it while we're speaking. Yes, as well. Microsoft has very recently added the capability to run Office script on Excel Desktop.
Wow.
The only problem is that it is only available if you are on Office Insider.
Insider.
Yes. I'm starting up a machine so I can show it, but it takes like
Bit of
2
time.
minutes or something.
Okay, any other questions? Oh,
Just waiting for my Excel to load.
but in that script, the script activities, can you like, does it give you maybe information of maybe what other workbook associates in the script? Or there's no place to actually tell you? Because you mentioned you can share it. You mentioned you can share it. You mentioned you can share the script with, like you can share it. So I'm asking this option, this fourth option, or the last option, that script activities. I think like give you no, this is the last option. No, the
this one.
script, yeah, script activities. Okay, that's tells you the activities. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I thought it would tell you maybe who has access to it or who
But
doesn't.
no, this one tells you who has access to the
Just
script.
to it.
So everyone else can just use the script and run it, and the other one that can edit it is me. That being said, this applies to the scripts that are in my OneDrive folder. There's also an option to have an organization-wide folder for Office scripts that that everyone has access to. I don't know what that folder is called or how, because I'm not an Office 365 expert. Let me see if my Excel is awake in the meantime. Then I'll share my screen. Yes, it is. Stop sharing. So I need to share a different window. Is my screen visible now?
Yes, it's visible.
Yes. So this is a virtual computer that contains Excel on my desktop. So let me prove that by just launching Excel from the icon here. And if I open up the file that I was just editing in Excel Online called script001, you see the button appear here. And I can actually click the button and it opens a task pane that contains my script. It runs the script and you should see the TOC sheet disappear and then reappear without the button. It'll probably take some time because scripts are not necessarily fast.
Okay, yes.
And there the TOC sheet has reappeared. And as you can see, it's still actually inserting. There it is. And the hyperlinks work too.
Yes.
And actually the other button also is in the sheet, so I can click this button and it will add my name and etc.
So these class scripts are like a VBA replacement.
Yeah, I would call it, well, not a replacement. It is a VBA replacement for people who can only use Excel Online. But I think maybe in the faraway future, scripts might replace VBA because the big advantage is that this script will also run on your iPad. If you're using Excel Online, then you can run code on your iPad or wherever you're using Excel, as opposed to VBA, which only runs on Windows Excel and in a limited fashion on Mac Excel.
Okay.
So yeah, Office scripts. There you go. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. It was a bit messy here and there because sometimes I overlooked the mistakes that I made, but my experience is that usually is something that is useful for other people to see, that programmers make mistakes all the time.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed the presentation and I actually learned a lot about especially the script.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
Okay. So what he said, he also liked. He liked that it was messy. Like that's how the reward is. So yeah, this is true.
Okay. Well, it was my pleasure presenting to you guys, and maybe we can do that again someday.
Yes, we can schedule another session soon.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think there are no other questions at the moment.
If there are any questions later on, maybe if you're watching the video.
Yeah, so the video will be online, available on YouTube. So if there are any questions, you could.
That's just, you can direct them to that email address.
Oh, okay. So this is email address.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
So thank you once again. And so we have another session in 1 hour time on Power BI. So our speaker is going to be taking us about 2 tips how to use them when you're making an interactive dashboard.
Should be an interesting session.
It's actually interesting. Do you also do Power BI?
Almost zero. Yeah, I'm more into programming and automating stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you know about Power. So you use Power Automate a lot then.
Yeah. I know enough about Power BI to be very dangerous.
That's nice. Okay, so yeah, someone said they just late. Yeah, so Victor, you can send him any questions on his email. All right, and so thank you so much for this session. Yes, goodbye everybody.
Cheers.
So I'll be ending this channel. Cheers.